This is Filmmaking for Noobs. I'm Kyle Lawrence, and today I'm going to explain two very simple yet very important rules of cinematography. When it comes to visual storytelling, aka filmmaking, there are two very important rules that are oftentimes misused, unknown, or overlooked. Knowing these two rules will help you to become much better at telling stories through the visual medium of film. Now, of course, these are not rules in the sense that you absolutely must use them no matter what. Sometimes rules are meant to be broken, but these are more like guidelines that you should definitely learn and stick to and only stray from when there is a purposeful and creative reason why you must do so in the name of creativity. These rules are technically more related to continuity in the sense of keeping the flow of your visual story continual, because the audience can't see everything, they can only see what's within your frame. These two rules are the 180 rule and the 15-degree rule. We will start with the 180 rule because for some, the 180 rule can be the most complicated of these to understand, and it also lays the foundation for many other rules of cinematography. A circle is 360 degrees. Half of a circle is 180 degrees. The 180 rule simply states that you draw a circle around your action, draw a line through the middle, and then your camera always stays in one half of the circle, never crossing the invisible line. If you've ever been on set and you heard the DP, the camera ops, or the director talking about the line, or saying things such as, "We have to stay on this side of the line," that is the line that they are referring to. If you have two actors in a scene and they're both facing each other, you will draw a line right through the middle of those two actors and always keep your camera on one side of that line for every shot in that scene. This is because if you move your camera to the opposite side of the line, it will break continuity and it may confuse your audience as to where your actors are positioned. Although it is acceptable to break this rule when you are trying to convey a sense of disorientation. If you have 3 or more actors in your scene, you will draw multiple circles around each pair of actors who are talking to each other, and then draw a line through each of those pairs of actors. Your line would change whenever your actor changes who they are speaking to. This also means that when you have lots of actors in your scene, you may have to shoot close-ups of each actor multiple times from various angles to make sure you have enough coverage for the right actor at the right time based on who they're speaking to and where your line is at the moment. Here are some examples of the 180 rule and why it is important. This is our master shot. As our first shot, we've also established which side of the line we are on. If we look at the set overhead, we can see a fuller picture of everyone's position. Our line goes through the middle of our two actors, and we're staying on the south side of the line. Going back to our master shot, which the audience sees, we can then cut into a close-up of our first character. We'll call him Brad. And then we cut to our second character, who we'll call Tom. We can cut back and forth between these two shots or any other angles of these actors and not get confused about where Brad and Tom are standing, because all of these shots are from the same side of the line. You'll notice that if we keep the actor on the same side of the frame in the close-up as they are in the wide shot, this also helps a lot. Let's cut back to our master shot to reorient ourselves. If we then cut to a close-up of Brad, but we're on the wrong side of the line, suddenly we've introduced a level of confusion. The audience then asks many questions, such as, wait, where is he? Did he move? Whose point of view are we seeing this from? Is there something I missed? As we cut back and forth between the different sides of the line, it suddenly becomes very confusing and disorienting. Are Brad and Tom both talking to some other person? Are they standing next to each other now? When do they move? This is why it's important to stay on one side of the line. But what happens if we introduce a third character who has dialogue with our first two? Meet Alejandro, who happens to have a really cool name and also happens to be in charge. That's why he gets a truck. If Tom turns to speak to Alejandro, we would establish a new line, one that passes through Tom and Alejandro. And then we have to stick to one side of that line whenever these two characters speak to each other. Brad also turns to speak to Alejandro, who speaks to both Tom and Brad at different points in time. This creates a third line, one between Alejandro and Brad. This now means that we need coverage on each actor from two different angles depending on who they are speaking to. Brad speaking to Tom and Brad speaking to Alejandro, Tom speaking to Brad and also to Alejandro, and Alejandro speaking to each Tom and Brad. We remain on the correct side of our original line to establish the third character. We cut to his close-up, staying on the correct side of our original line and now establishing which side of our new line we're going to be on. When we cut to the close-up of Tom, we stay on the same side of the new line. We do the same for our dialogue between Brad and Alejandro as well. This leads us to the 15-degree rule. This rule is more applicable during post-production, although it is definitely important to keep in mind while you're shooting because you want to make sure that your editor has the right shots to work with. The 15-degree rule states that from one cut to another cut, you want to make sure that the angle of your camera or the perspective of your camera has changed by at least 15 degrees or more. The reason for this is because anything less than 15 degrees, even if you move by 5 or 10 degrees, can sometimes look like a jump cut, which is acceptable for YouTube, like this. However, jump cuts are usually not desirable or acceptable in cinematic or dramatic storytelling. The goal when editing is to use cuts to different angles in order to eloquently hide the fact that you've cut between multiple takes. This allows you to keep continuity and makes everything flow nicely. Of course, it is completely acceptable to shoot a medium shot and then a tighter close-up from the same angle as long as you plan on cutting to a different angle before cutting to the closer shot. In our example here, we are shooting a medium shot of both actors and a close-up of both actors, each from the same angle. However, when we cut from the medium shot of actor 1 to the medium shot of actor 2, we have a change in 120 degrees, which is more than 15 degrees. And then when we cut back to our close-up of actor 1, we have another change of 120 degrees. This means that we're maintaining the 15-degree rule even though we are shooting the close-up and the medium shot from the same angle. There is a third equally important rule called the rule of thirds, which we will cover in the next episode of Filmmaking for Noobs. This has been Filmmaking for Noobs. I'm Kyle Lawrence. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, comment below, share with your friends. Have a great day.